The World Health Organization has reported that worldwide obesity has tripled since 1975, and recently I read an article that I was really upset by, is that the UK has been classed as the third fattest nation in Europe due to the obesity epidemic that we're in now. 2 years ago, I would have been part of those statistics, but I chose to take back control of my well-being. And so what I thought I'd do in this vlog is to bring you my top 5 tips for keeping the weight off consistently over the long term, so that you can have a healthier, happier and longer life and not suffer the issues related to obesity. And these can include health issues such as diabetes, increased risk of contracting 7 different types of cancer, increased risk of getting Alzheimer's. It also, the bigger you are, the smaller your brain becomes, as they've found from scientific studies. So don't become a dinosaur, don't make yourself extinct, don't have a big body and a small brain. Please try and follow these top 5 tips to really help you take back control of your well-being and keep your weight off for the long term. So my first tip, which is really key on anything that you're trying to do with regards to well-being, is to set yourself clear goals. Now, this is really key. So for me personally, I decided back in 2016 that I needed to take back control of my weight. I was eating the wrong things, I was drinking too much alcohol, I put on an awful lot of weight, and I wasn't happy with myself, I wasn't happy with how I looked, I wasn't happy with my energy levels, and I definitely emotionally wasn't happy with who I was. So for me to take back control of my well-being, to take back control of my weight, I set myself a goal to be the lightest and the fittest I've been for over 10 years. And I picked a weight goal that I'd had from a measurement I had done at a gym years and years ago, back 10 years ago. And I wanted to get to that weight again. I wanted to lose those 26 pounds, 12 kilograms in weight. I'd never lost that much weight before, I'd never really been on a weight loss journey, but I knew that it was time for me to take back control of my well-being and be the happy person that I knew I could be over the long term, and really improve my health for my future and be able to show up as that person that I wanted to be. So first of all, do make sure that you set yourself a clear goal, whether that is the amount of weight you want to lose, the target weight that you want to get to, whether it is reducing the circumference of your waist. Scientific studies have shown that the waist to height ratio is a great indicator in terms of your obesity, as well as body mass index or BMI. So it's actually considered the waist to height ratio is perhaps better. So look at your waist measurement in inches or centimeters, look at your height measurement in inches or centimeters, and if you are 50% or less in terms of your waist size, then you're doing really well. So look at your waist circumference and you can use that as a guide, but set yourself a clear goal. Now, it doesn't need to be a goal that you think is achievable. I didn't know whether I was ever going to achieve the goal that I set myself to be as light as I've ever been, and I did achieve it, but it's important that you set yourself something that's challenging, something that you can work towards. So first of all, set yourself a clear goal as to where you want to get to in terms of your weight loss, in terms of your health and well-being. The next thing that you need to do is to clearly define your why. Why is it really important for you to lose that weight? Why is it really important for you to keep that weight off? Perhaps you know of people in your family who are already diabetic, type 2 diabetes as a consequence of putting on too much weight, or they're in the risk level. Perhaps you know of people who are suffering from Alzheimer's disease and you want to avoid that risk, you want to reduce the risk. Perhaps you're struggling with your energy levels, perhaps you're struggling with your brain function, your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, and you know that if you lose weight, that will really help you with your mindset. So just decide what the why is for you, and think beyond yourself as well. Think about the benefits that your weight loss will bring, not just to yourself, but to your family, your friends, your workplace environment. Think beyond you and look at that why, define it for yourself, and make sure you live into it. Make sure you really connect with it, because if you don't connect with your why it's so important to you, then your ability to achieve the goals that you set for yourself will reduce. So really connect with your why. So my why for me is I wanted to feel better from a body image. I didn't like my body image. I knew that once I lost that weight, my emotional well-being would improve, my mental well-being would improve, my connection with the people that I loved would really improve as well. So that was my why. Be clear what the why is for you. Next, this is not about going on a diet. What is really key to successfully keeping your weight off over the long term is change your habits. I had terrible habits. I was eating cake as a comfort food to get through the day because I didn't enjoy the workplace I was in. I was drinking alcohol as a sort of self-medication at night time to get over the struggles I was having mentally and emotionally with the stressful environment I was in at work. If that's you, think about what habits you need to change to improve what you put into your body, improve what you do with your body, so that you can look after your health over the long term, so that you can help keep that weight off. And the reason I say it's so important to change your habits is so many people go on a diet, and the reason that the diet fails is because they haven't recognized the need to change the underlying bad habit. And as soon as that diet stops, they go back to the bad habits that they had originally, and therein the weight piles back on. So focus on what habits you can change and pick one that you can change first off. So whether that's not buying cakes, whether that's going to the gym, whether that's cutting down on the alcohol that you consume, and alcohol is known to be a key factor in terms of the obesity we're suffering here in the UK. Pick one habit and consistently make sure that you either break it or make it. And it could take you up to 66 days, as science has discovered, to build a new habit. So you've got to think about the fact that you're in this for a long term. New habits take a long while to form. So that's why it's so important that you try not to take on too much. Pick one habit and really focus on embedding that habit into your lifestyle. So the habits that I set up was cutting out the cake. I stopped drinking alcohol. I significantly cut it down initially, and I now don't drink it anymore. And I also set up a habit of going to the gym once a week, but I didn't do it all at once. I did it gradually so I could embed those habits into my lifestyle. And that's really key to keep the weight off over the long term. We must set up good habits for ourselves. Next thing that is so important, and if we had this in a pill, we would be taking this every day, and that is to exercise weekly. Do make sure that you take the time out in your day to exercise. We know that people who are high performers can exercise up to 5-6 times a week. They exercise much more than those of lower performance, and it's really important that we take the time to exercise. And the reason it's so important is because exercise really boosts our dopamine levels. That's the neurotransmitter that helps us with motivation. It boosts our serotonin levels. That helps us with increasing our level of happiness. And it's been found in scientific studies that exercise over the long term can actually be more effective than taking antidepressants alone. So it's such an important thing that we must do. And in our lifestyle today, we've become very lazy, and we've lost sight of the need to get out and exercise. So when you choose to do an exercise, make sure you pick something that you love, that you really love doing, whether that's walking, whether that's going dancing, whether it's the gym. Find something that you can really connect with, that you can set up consistently on a weekly basis and do over the long term. And this comes back to changing your habits. Create those great habits for yourself to keep your weight off. And finally, what is so important is that you track your progress. So the way I did this for myself is I used a health app, and I tracked my weight loss by measuring myself every week, the same day, at the same time, before I started eating anything, as soon as I got up in the morning. And because I didn't really want to know my weight, what I was interested in was the delta in my weight, the change that I was seeing in my weight. I picked a scale of kilograms that meant nothing to me, and I measured my weight using that. If you're measuring your waist circumference, obviously pick something. If you don't like knowing what your waist circumference is, pick a measure that doesn't mean anything necessarily to you, so you can monitor the difference and track the difference as you go. It's really important that you do track your progress, and don't get disheartened if you fall off the wagon. As I said, it can take up to 66 days to embed a new habit, so get back on that wagon, get going, and keep focused on that goal. Keep focused on why it's important to you, and keep moving forward. And I know when I tracked my progress, the other important thing here is to make sure that you celebrate your successes, so you can build that momentum to keep going, so that you can build that momentum to create those and embed those new habits that are so important to keeping your weight off over the long term. I hope you enjoyed those top 5 tips. As a quick recap, the first one is to set clear goals for yourself. Second is to make sure you clearly define your why it's important to you, and you connect with that. Thirdly is to change your habits. It's not about necessarily your diet, it's about going on a diet. It's about changing your habits, changing what you eat over the long term, changing what you drink. Fourthly, make sure you exercise weekly. The recommendation is 150 minutes a week from the NHS, National Health Service in the UK. Make sure you build yourself up to doing enough exercise to keep your body healthy and to keep your weight off. And then finally is to track your progress. Keep your progress tracked throughout your journey and beyond to make sure that you sustain that weight loss that you've set for yourself. If you need any further help with regards to weight loss, I've been through the journey. I lost 26 pounds, which is 12 kilograms in the end, and that has allowed me to achieve more things than I ever felt possible. Being the fittest I've ever been. Magical things have happened to me, which has been really exciting, based on me having more energy, me boosting my performance. So if you want to be that person that can consistently keep the weight off, that wants to boost their energy and performance, then click on the link below and either choose to sign up for my Wellbeing Warrior Monthly, where I'll talk all about how you can activate your inner warrior and show up as the best you and really boost your performance and potential, or download the free one-page goal planner to really help you set those goals that are so important to you to get you started on that weight loss journey and keep that weight off over the long term.